Good morning, everyone. My name is Carmen Saladin, and I'm the Director of Development at Inspiredu. I want to welcome you all to our digital discussion where we're talking about bringing the digital equity to our community and closing the digital divide. And this morning, I'm here with some beautiful ladies, Shatoria Dent and Courtney.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Shatoria Dent. I am the development coordinator here at Inspiredu. I am excited to be with you all this morning to talk about corporate engagement and digital inclusion in our community. This morning, we do have Courtney Simo, our senior account executive from iVision. Would you like to introduce yourself, Courtney?
Awesome. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you, Shatoria. And thank you for having me. I've always been a huge advocate for Inspire EDU, even from back in the day when you guys were Computers for Youth. So it's been awesome to see the growth that you guys have had over the years. And by all means, anything I can do to support, I'm happy to do it. But to tell you a little bit about myself, my name is Courtney Simo. I'm a senior account executive at iVision. I've been in the technology space for almost about 10 years now and am married, live in Brookhaven. I've got two fur children. And in my free time, I volunteer as Atlanta Technology Professionals president, as well as trying to get out and start traveling again as much as possible. So thank you again for having me here, and certainly excited to talk about today's discussion because it's definitely near and dear to my heart.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of this discussion. Thank you for being just involved in our community in general. With that being said, we want to just circle around this conversation about the importance of companies, corporate companies being involved in our community. So with that being said, why do you think it's important for corporate companies to be involved in the community?
Absolutely. And great question, too, because especially this time of the year, there's so many different organizations looking to get that corporate involvement. And it's important. I mean, in my opinion, it's our social responsibility to give back. Our community is our backyard. And what we do and where we, water our grass is where it's going to grow. So I think it's incredibly important for companies to give back to the community. I also think I've spent 6.5 years in IT staffing before moving over to iVision. And so for me, I think it's also important to attract talent. Quite frankly, people like to work for companies that are also passionate and excited about what they are passionate and excited about. And I know that was one of the reasons why I went over to iVision, is just knowing the 1% pledge that we have, where it's, you donate 1% of your time as well as 1% of the entire company's profit. To me, that was something that made it really attractive to come over and join the iVision team.
Yeah, thank you. It's always important to work somewhere where they have a passion aligned with yourself, right? It's always
Yes.
to have that passion and impact that's aligned with your employees or your employer. So again, thank you again for joining us this morning. We're really excited for this conversation.
Yeah.
Yes, and we really appreciate everything that you do to support us, whether it's through ATP or iVision, and just having you come out to the warehouse and help us, and to the distributions when you actually see us be able to support the families firsthand. So we really appreciate that. I do have another question though. What can nonprofits do to get corporate engagement from companies?
Yeah. So, great question. And there's many different ways to go about doing that. I think really just aligning with companies that feel like a natural fit. And so what I mean by that, and you guys do an incredible job at doing this, is, with Inspiring EU, you guys are taking donated hardware, so donated laptops from different companies. You're wiping them clean, you're uploading your educational software, and then you're giving the laptop to a child. So what's awesome is that it's that full cycle, and the ability to volunteer with you guys, whether it is in the warehouse, whether it is in a school, whether it is, just making a financial contribution. There's so many different ways to get involved with Inspire EDU. And I feel a lot of people like to see the impact that they're making on a day-to-day basis. And it's one thing just to write a check, but it's another thing to actually be there and helping untangle the cords and that big, massive box of laptops. And, it's another thing to, advocate internally at your company when you hear about a hardware refresh, hey, let's donate these laptops. Let's give these to a kid. Let's help make a difference in their life by doing that. And then, with the schools and everything, just the opportunity to actually go into one of those workshops and experience that and see the joy that's on a kid's face when they're opening it. And as they're playing like the multiplication, math blast games, just seeing that excitement that they have with learning. I mean, for companies and corporate organizations, I mean, just giving back in that way is really just helping build up that next generation of people who will be moving into corporate America.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we get so much, as Inspiredu, we get so much support from so many companies who come to us and help us in the warehouse and help us at distributions. And we've been very blessed to be able to have that partnership with companies. And actually, that's one of the reasons why I want to be able to, connect and be able to have other nonprofits hear how that connection works so well for the community. It works great for the company, and it works great for the nonprofit, and at the end of the day, it just benefits the community 10 times more.
Absolutely. And I mean, speaking on the different ways that you guys can help and companies can get involved with Inspiredu right now at this point, where do you guys feel you need the most support or the extra help? What are really the areas as we look into going into, tying up this year and then starting next year? What are those different areas that you guys really want to have, that extra push to get more volunteers and people introduced to y'all's amazing mission?
Yeah, we have so many different programs, so many different volunteer opportunities. And Shatar, you could definitely talk about all the different opportunities that we have. But along with volunteering people's, their time, there's also ways that they could financially help us, or even just connect us to other companies who are willing to come out and help us within the warehouse or within hardware refresh. But there's so many different volunteer opportunities, right, Shataria? We have a lot going on.
Yeah, we have so many volunteer opportunities. And the one thing that I agree with what Courtney said, the impact that we're creating here at Inspiredu, you can physically see it. Like anyone can write a check, right? Like anyone can give, but like the physical impact of wiping a computer, cleaning it, make sure it's suitable for the recipient is physical impact that you're seeing, that you're creating in the community. So just to see that you're actually helping and it's going somewhere is just unbelievable. And it's words can't describe it, honestly.
It's awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah, we're very grateful for that. And I know when I speak to other nonprofits and they talk about their volunteerism, and they talk about their needs, I think one of the biggest things that they have is just being able to connect with companies, like wanting to know exactly what is it that a company needs from a nonprofit to be able to make that connection. Like, how can we be more visual out there and just be able to reach out? For us, I know a lot of the times when the volunteers come to the warehouse, they whether they stay with their company or they move on to other companies, they bring what they just experienced to wherever they go and they talk about it, and then we make another connection that way, which is awesome. So what other ways can nonprofits reach out to companies to just let them know, hey, we're here, so we need help, how can you help us?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm sure that question will always be one that continues to evolve over time. But I think what you guys are doing with partnering with different companies and continuing to create that word of mouth experience, people remember experiences. They don't necessarily remember just, dropping a check in the mail. When you physically feel it and go through it, I think that's really what makes a difference. And I'd say, talking a little bit about the partnership that we've created with ATP and Inspiredu, I think nonprofits, partnering and kind of being such a great balance in some ways is a great way to continue to further your mission. With ATP focused on connecting community and corporate organizations, we're all volunteer-led organization, and we have our ATP Cares arm, which we really put our heads together and said, what makes most sense? How can we best see this impact? How can we drive more, brand recognition to Inspire EDU, get more companies involved, help promote their events, because the partnership is so great between the two organizations that we almost see ourselves as like a gateway to doing what you guys do. And you do such a good job at it. Why reinvent the wheel when instead we can work together and just continue to cross promote from that perspective?
And we really appreciate it. I mean, we're very grateful for ATP and ATP Cares. I mean, having an organization that just has so many members from so many different companies all in one location, at least connected one way, is the best way to have a nonprofit go in and say, hey, this is what we do, this is who we are, and how can we get some help. And I think a company or an organization like ATP is definitely a great way to get started. So I'm very grateful for the connection that we have and being a part of ATP Cares, and and just having you be a sounding board with ATP Cares and iVision. And I gotta just mention really quick about iVision. I think one of the times, every time that we think about iVision, they've helped us out. The company itself has helped us out in so many ways, not just volunteering in the warehouse, but they do marketing, help us with marketing. They help us financially. They support us, all of our sponsorships, all our events. And so we're very grateful for you to be in the middle of sort of both places, where you're able to just help us out and talk to people, and you do such a great job with that. And I know Shataria and we talked so many times about the volunteers when they do come to the warehouse and how they support us, and how having someone like you being able to kind of connect us to as many people out there as possible.
Yeah, no, thank you for those kind words, Carmen. And, iVision, certainly a big focus for us is to give back to the community. We have these client engagement values that we actually recite before each meeting. And one of them that really resonates with me is, we recognize that service without heart is arrogance. And so, just being so mindful in what you do, where you spend your time, and how you give back your time is just so important for anyone, no matter what they're doing or who they're connecting with on a day-to-day basis. I think especially in my role, I come across, and I'm very fortunate to get to meet so many different people of all different walks of life. And so just being able to share your story and share what Inspire EDU does, it's just such a natural way to be able to, for me personally, give back and help make a difference in, a child's life. So really excited to give back. Always will continue to be a big advocate for you guys. And again, always will be able to go out and try to recruit and, share y'all's story, because it is such an awesome story to see how far you guys have came. And maybe you could share a little bit of that, where you guys really started and some of the growth you guys have been through for some of the people out there who may not be as familiar with it.
Yeah, well, we started off as part of Power My Learning, and then we broke off from Power My Learning. We really wanted to stay boots on the ground and helping the community and being a part, like right in the heart of what's happening. And of course, when COVID hit, it definitely made a huge change in how we did a lot of the work. And so it also brought us up front and center. The need for the laptops, the need for the training was so important right as soon as everything happened. And it really just put us right up front, and it gave us an opportunity to really connect a lot more with the companies. We put a call out to all the companies, and so many people came out and said, we're here, what do you need, how do you what kind of help do you need, how many laptops, we'll work out anything that we could possibly do to get what you need for the community. And they sure did that. They were just absolutely wonderful doing that. And Shataria and I remember us being in the warehouse plenty of times, right? Shataria, just trying to work through how we're going to change everything. How does volunteerism actually change at that point? The kind of things that we had to do, right?
Right. We definitely took it by the arms and just tried to identify how can we have volunteers have community impact, but still do it safely. So that was one of our main goals, to just make sure we're able to allow volunteers in our warehouse where they can be safe and also do it at a rate where they're still community or committed to that impact in the community.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And, part of where you guys do volunteer, it is so, face-to-face interaction. How are you continuing to do your workshops with how COVID has kind of changed the dynamic of a lot of different things? How are you guys continuing to do the workshops and continue to teach through your programs and everything?
Well, when COVID hit, I mean, a lot of everything had to just change, and we went virtual in so many different ways. The warehouse did kind of close down for a little bit of time, due to us trying to get as much as we can as far as computers and getting them fixed and getting them ready to be able to distribute them. So we, and because of COVID, we weren't allowed to have people in the warehouse, but we worked through all of that, and we kind of turned everything into a, virtual environment, just like everyone else was able to do. So we have different programs, our digital champion program, which allow volunteers to volunteer an hour or so of their time weekly, for as much as they want. They could do it within a month, 2 or 3 times. And then of course we started slowly to open up the warehouse again, where we're able to have people come in and still volunteer or socially distance. So we do some outside. The outside ones have been really fun, right, Shataria?
Yeah, the outside ones have been great. Just making sure everyone's comfortable. That's our number one goal. Like, just comfortability levels is our number one goal here. So we just still want to have that factor about still being able to volunteer.
Yeah. And now I know I had the experience to help. You guys mentioned the outside one. So just sharing with everybody else what that is. We did a neighborhood laptop drive where we set up tents, and there's some information that went out to the different people in the community. I think this one was up in Alpharetta that we did. And, to be, COVID safe, we did have cars kind of drive by and drop the laptops off, and we track them and, go back and make sure all the numbers and everything are corrected, and, just get those laptops and start taking that from that process. So before, I know you guys used to show up at different companies, bring a truck to pick up devices. People could drop devices off at the warehouse if they're looking to get rid of them. But I think the way that you guys were able to transition to still collecting some of those laptops, especially when kids needed them most because they're virtual. And, how can you learn school if you can't even connect? You can't even get online. So I think the way that you guys still, COVID obviously impacted everybody, but the way it impacted you guys and the way you were able to just, again, lean on partners like ATP, lean on your sponsors, lean on all these other companies that you guys are engaged with, and just find an alternative solution with the situation going on. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and they really came through. I mean, like I said, it was so interesting. We get an email from the mayor's office calling us an essential service. When everything shut down, we had to stay open, and it was absolutely, it was really touching to just to be able to call so many companies and have them say, what do you need? We may not be able to go out, but we'll get you what you need. And all in all, we still had plenty of people who came into the warehouse with their masks to pick up those computers and make personal distribution, like going to people's homes and dropping off the laptops right in their front door. We have so many of those pictures, and they're really touching to see the kids still be able to get the computers and be home and still connect from the house. And that's what I'm saying. Corporate engagement is so essential in this time. It's something that sometimes people just wonder, like, oh, can we get some help? Yes, you can. All you need to do is have an advocate, have someone who's out there who believes in what you're doing, who knows what you do, and just go out to the community and go out to their other companies, people they know, and just say, this is something that can really benefit everyone. It benefits the family the most, but it does help the company. It's a nice, good feeling to know that you have your employees going and still be able to help.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just it's awesome just to see just the ecosystem of the community and what you guys are doing and how everybody works together, and how, when new laptops come in, the old ones still probably work pretty fine. So, let's repurpose them, let's reuse them, let's make an impact together.
Yeah, and we also had so many companies actually, if they couldn't do the laptops, because they also did come to a point where they found that a lot of the employees had to work from home. So now their systems have to go home and they have to work with their employees, which was absolutely okay, but they were there financially, they were there able to help us. And we collected a lot of money to be able to purchase the licensing that we need for the computers that we had to distribute. So people came in so many different ways, whether it was donating a laptop, donating their time, going out and driving around the neighborhoods and dropping off computers, or being able to say, this is what we could give you so you get to continue your service with what you're doing in the community. And I just really feel blessed that our company Inspiredu has so many wonderful friends, because I mean, at this point, we're not even, it's not like, oh, I know someone in that company. It's seriously, I think everywhere I look at, we have a friend in that company who really just talks about us and helps us the best way that they can. And, I feel very blessed about that.
Absolutely. Now, I know the warehouse, and for anyone who hasn't been there that's watching, definitely recommend to go check it out, because it is just a massive, awesome space with tons of different laptops piled high. But I guess with the supply chain shortages and everything that's coming from not being able to get hardware, and new companies, a lot of them doing the laptop refreshes, a lot of that's getting pushed out further. What are you guys doing from being a proactive in terms of making sure you're continuing to have that stockpile of laptops available, because there's such a need to get these devices into kids' hands?
There is, and we have an awesome team. I mean, like an incredible team. And on our IT department, Eddie Matano, who's the director of IT, and you'll be seeing him in another digital discussion soon. His team, he has his hand in just almost every single company you could possibly think of. He's connected somehow, and he reaches out, and of course, he gets a chance to really talk to them and just get the computers the best way that we can logistically, and just trying to get them to make donations. And at the end of the day, we have Richard Hicks, the CEO. Like, one of the biggest
loves Richard.
I know. One of the biggest jokes we have in the warehouse. No one can say no to Richard. Like, all he has to do is put in an ask, and if I heard a maybe, it was probably one. But it's never a no.
And I'm sure that maybe turned into a yes.
Right. He's all for it. Trust me, he absolutely gets his yes one way or another, and he does a great job at it. And our team is incredible. Our program team is led by Onisha Freeman, director of programs and partnerships, and she is the one who finishes that connection that we have. We have Richard, who talks and works on everything. Eddie, who works on IT, and he connects the companies. I work on trying to connect the companies to Onisha, who has all the community partners. So we all just really work well together, and it's a really nice, fine working machine, I think.
No, you guys definitely have a great team. You can see the passion that you guys have within yourselves just every day, seeing you guys in action, what you're doing, whether it's working with the corporate companies, whether it's working with the volunteers, whether it's working with the teachers, the families, the children. I mean, it is just, you could just feel that passion. And I think because of how passionate you are, a lot of other companies and people who get to know you can feel it, and it's so genuine that they are just, they're like, I want to be a part of this movement. I want to be a part of what this team and this group is doing. So kudos to the whole Inspiredu team, because you guys are digital champions yourself, really just leading this change.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Courtney. Thank you. Thank you, Courtney, for just joining us today. It was really great having you, Carmen. Thank you for discussing how we're operating here at Inspiredu, trying to really make a vital change in our Atlanta community. If you guys want to just find more information about us, just visit our website at iuatl.org for volunteerism. We have multiple events going on that we'll be having in the community for next year as well. If you want to see some physical impact that you're seeing in the community, we have our warehouse volunteering where you can actually see the impact you're creating with wiping the laptop. So making sure the software is correct before it proceeds to a family. So it's some really good things that we're doing here. Hopefully you guys will be able to join us eventually in the new year or even soon. So thank you guys again for joining this panel. Thank you to our viewers. We are currently also running a end of the year campaign called Brighter Futures. If you guys would just look at our LinkedIn, our past posts, we are curating these social posts for brighter futures for families in our community where we can share their stories, share their impact and what they're helping us do and what we're helping us do. So if you want to find out more about our end of the year campaign with Brighter Futures, you can join us or visit us at the website at bit.ly/Brighter Future 2021. You can also text the number 41444 for donations and to also find out more information about our Brighter Future campaign. It's really a great thing that we're doing, really trying to share the impact that we're doing in the community. And thank you guys so much again for joining us. We look forward to continuing this conversation about digital equity, digital inclusion, and careers in tech, and looking forward for another digital discussion next month. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much for coming and
Thank
attending.
you.
Of course. Of course. Thank you guys for all you're doing. And like I said, the leadership you guys are, the leadership and the difference you're continuing to have in the community. So
well, we couldn't be able to do this without your support. So we really appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, Courtney, where can we find some more information about you if we want to get some more contact?
Yeah, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Also, if you want to email me, feel free to send me an email my way as well. I think it's right there at the bottom of the screen. So happy to connect, always looking to network, and we'll always be happy to share Inspiredu's story.
Awesome. Thank you again for being on this panel with us. It was awesome. We really appreciate you. Appreciate iVision and ATP Cares. You guys are doing amazing work, and we're so happy to be a part of that.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies.